Hello everyone. Let's wait for 1 or 2 minutes for others to join.
Okay.
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 I hope everyone have installed the MySQL client in their local machine.
Yes,
Somya, I remember like she is having some issues. Uh, like apart from her, most of you guys have you guys installed the MySQL client?
yes.
Yes.
All right, all right. I guess we can start like it's already 6:33.
Mm.
Okay. So welcome to this session. My name is Akshit Mehti, and today we're gonna learn about SQL. So before that, we first need to know why we are learning the SQL. So SQL, as the like it's an abbreviated term, structured query language. So by the name itself, it is saying it is a query language. So what you are querying? A table. So in data engineering, you will be storing data somewhere. So it is always in the form of tables. Okay, when we talk of a table, what we say is a table. Table is just a 2D structure. Let's say if I show you in Excel, everyone might have interacted with Excel and created some small table. Let's say I create a very small table. Let's say everyone watch cricket, right? Or so in a cricket match, uh, we have players. Okay, so a player could have a name, let's say a running number, player ID, some player name. Um, so this is Sachin Tendulkar. So this is a small table, right, with two columns, one row. But when we are doing in the data engineering, we are talking in terms of scale, and we don't interact. We do interact with tables, but we don't interact using Excel. We store data in databases, and to do to see the data, to delete some rows, to update some rows, or do any slicing and dicing on top of it, we use SQL. So if you open the SQL, um, yeah, if you had opened the SQL client, you might able to see a certain screen where you will get your MySQL. Okay. Now here you can write the queries. Like the queries could be now in a SQL database. When we call a database since it's the entire MySQL, so inside it you will be you will create databases. So inside database there will be table, like it's the relationship is like this. So you have one database, and inside a database you can have multiple table, like table 1, table 2, like this. Like in a single Excel sheet you can have multiple workbooks. It is you can make an analogy like that. So inside a database you can have multiple tables. So first let's see how to create a database. Okay. So if you enter the command, like it's a plain English thing, it like you wanted to see the database, you will ask him show database, show databases. So each command will be ended with a semicolon, and here you can see these are all the available databases. Okay. So out of it, like these four are the system generated databases, which are used for the internal purposes, like to keep the table schema and other relevant stuff. We will talk about it. Like it's out of scope as well for the current session. Like we will more talk about like how can we query the data, how can we do the slicing and dicing, and can update, delete, and modify the rows, and something about how we keep the relationships between the table. Okay. Now if we see if we wanted to create a new database, so simple, we will just give a plain English statement to it. You can keep on writing. It's better if you sit with a pen and paper as well, just beside you, so that you can take the notes as well. So to create a database, it is straightforward. Like create database, you will give a database name. Let's say uh, uh, Chameleon Labs, C Labs. So here we can see the query reported okay, and it got executed. Now we ask him to show the databases. You have the C Labs database, right? So to use a particular database, just it's simple, like plain English. Use my database name. So inside database we had tables. So so first thing, we had to create some tables to interact with it, right? So what we will do, we will create a table. Let's say this is my table, and this is something that I had to create. Since we had taken the example of cricket, we could have players, we could have some scores related to it. So let's create this player table, okay, where we had the player ID and player name as a column. To define a table in a SQL, you had to write a plain statement like, you want to say that create the table. So say it to SQL, create table, and the table name, which we said the players. Now inside it, what columns I do need? I need player ID. So I said player ID. Okay. And now, like in the Excel, it doesn't constrain you. You can write anything. Like here you had written 1. Now here you can write A as well. But 1 is a, like, if we talk in terms of database, a database had to know like which type of data you wanted to store. Like if you go here, you can see some different type of data. Either you wanted to store some number, or you wanted to store some date or time, or you wanted to store a text. So A is a text, but 1 is a number. When we say the player ID is a number, so in numbers as well, we have the so it is an integer number. We all know what is integer. Integer could be the whole number from is on the scale of minus, from negative to negative infinity to positive infinity. Like it's not the infinity here, but it do have some limitations, like if you are using 64-bit system or 32-bit system, but let's not go into the detail there. So here, if I since we wanted to create an integer type column, what we will do? We will say player ID, and what is its type? It's an integer type. Okay. Similarly, if I wanted to say player name, I will say player name. And to define the text in the SQL, we use varchar. So I can just make some analogies here that will be helpful for you. Just to define, so if you wanted to write the text type column, so it would be a varchar in SQL. Okay. And if you wanted to design on the number, which is not a fraction, you can go with the integer. And if you wanted to go for the date, you can go for date time, like date and date time, both of these things. So when you define a varchar, you had to define the length of the column. Like, is it, let's say if I say Sachin, so Sachin, there are 6 characters in it, right? So we had to we need to know prior, like how up to what length of the characters we wanted to store. Let's say I wanted to store up to 20 characters. So I will say varchar 20. Now if I go back and see here, say here, this is varchar 20. Okay. And now I can create this table. It said query okay. This means my query is executed. I can see the tables here, and this table is created. Players. Up until now, everything clear? Like, any doubts? Like why we did what we did?
Okay, no problem.
Sure. Okay. All right. So now we had created a table, but a table should have data. Otherwise, what is the use of a table, right? So to insert insert some data into the table, what we do is we had to say like just plain English. We are saying it to SQL, insert into which table? This players table. What values I wanted to add in this? I wanted to add 1 and I wanted to add Sachin. Uh, Adding the semicolon to finish the statement. So it got executed. Now this player contain these two values. Okay. The other way to add this as well, like we haven't provided the column names, but if we wanted to provide the column names as well, like in this, uh, let's say I wanted to write something like this. My my columns names are juggled up. Like I had the values something like Sachin and 2. So what I can do, I can just say that the first value belongs to my player name and the second value belong to my player ID. So this will still works fine and it will enter in the correct positions. Now we have two records in this table, and we wanted to see the records. So to fetch the records, it is we select the rows. Like we select in Excel. This is how this is how we select in Excel. But to select in SQL, what you had to do, select the column name, player ID, and what other column name I have? Player name. From which table? This is players table. So these are the two records that we have inserted. Now we know how to create table and we can even see the data, right? Now let's say you have more like more columns and you don't want to type all of it. So we can use wildcard here. Like in the last class, Rahul might have talked about wildcards. Like this star belongs, when we say star, it means all, everything. So it will, this star will represent all the names of the column from the table you are selecting. So this will result in the same query. But if you wanted to select specific column name, let's say you only wanted to select a specific column, then you can say the select only player ID from the player. So this will only select the particular column. Okay. Then comes then you might have query like uh, whenever we do select, we find all the columns, all the rows. But when we interact with the data, we are more concerned about, let's say, what is the player name of the player ID 2, right? We wanted to filter certain records and wanted to view only those specific records. So for that, we had the where clause, like select star from the players. So it's similarly play, it's a plain English, like where we are saying select a star from player where my player ID is equals to 2 or 1, whatever, like whichever whatever we wanted to give the as a filter. So let's see what it returns. It filtered the data for me and it returned the only specific row which matches my filter, right? So this
Hi, Akshat. Can I? Hi,
sure
Nitin
sure
here. Yeah. So, what happens? Say in this case, what happens if you are giving player ID equal to 3? Like, can you show me some errors while executing command? So we are just
All right.
seeing like everything is happening fine. So yeah, what happens when an error is happening?
See, you wanted to there might not be any error here, because if you say
Okay.
player ID equals to 3 and the
Mm-hmm.
ID doesn't exist, it
Yeah.
will try to find that this player ID,
Mm-hmm.
and it will apply this filter. Since this
Empty.
according to this filter, there exist no rows.
Okay.
So like you have to be very particular about the filter. So if you say let's say my player, wherever my player ID, let's say if I insert some rows, some more rows into it, let's say 3 and um Javed, okay,
Okay.
and some 4 and Nivid, okay. Now we had 4 rows. We can even give filters uh, like whatever seems fine to, like you wanted to see all the player IDs greater than 3, you can have it like greater than 3 is 4. You wanted to see including 3 greater than equals to 3, you can have 3 and 4, or less than, or like it's up to you what filtering you want to do on the data. Like
Okay.
basically when you have if you had created a table in Excel, if you filter on the data and say that this um, so you will get all the values listed, and then you can like if I create the table right away here, then you might able to like basically when you create the so here you had the table, so you can so these are the filter criteria. You try to check for 2 in this table, it is
Yeah,
no
right.
matching item.
As what we have in Excel. So
Yeah,
same kind of thing we are doing in SQL.
right. Like I'm trying to make an analogy so that it would be
Mm-hmm.
more easier, because Excel is something that we might everyone might have interacted with.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So thanks.
so as you said that what happen if we give a wrong query. Let's say uh, we 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 just simply say select to star from, and we forgot to give a table name. It will not finish until we set a semicolon. It will just simply say that your syntax is not right. So you had to just mind your syntax, go and check your syntax and correct it this way.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
So now we can filter the data, we can query it. Let's say now what you wanted to do is um, you, you wanted to you wanted to associate this table with some another table as well. Like let's say you have some scores table, okay, and in the scores, yeah, we had some player ID, we had some um, the number of runs he scored, we had okay, let's have this, we had then balls, okay. So this is certain table which say that this player one scored like 3 runs on fifth ball, and this player one again scored 4 runs on sixth ball, something like this. Then this player two scored 5 runs in eighth ball. Okay, so we had some data like this, let's say, and we wanted to store it in the MySQL. So we can okay, if it would be really great if one of you guys can unmute and volunteer like to help me to write this query to create this table. So what should I say to create this table? Okay, I will create it. Since my player ID is integer, we can also add constraint, like let's say we don't want a null value inside player ID. Like by saying null value is, null means nothing. So if I wanted to enforce like my value should be I should at least have some value in this, otherwise don't insert a row. So I can give this constraint like this player ID is not null. Run is an integer, and it could be null. So by default it is nullable. This balls, uh, let it be nullable. Okay, so now I had a table scores where I cannot enter a row which is not like I cannot enter a row where my player ID is null. So if I try to insert into this table scores with my values for the player ID, let's say 1, some runs to it 3, and some balls to it 5. This will work fine. We inserted one row, but let's try by not giving any value for player ID. It will tell me an error that it's like it's not a correct syntax. It is telling me that, like let's say we explicitly mention null. So it is saying that the player ID cannot be null because we have mentioned that player ID is not null. Like we cannot make it null. So this way we enforce our data set. Like if I created a table, we can enforce like you should at least give us your first name, if not last name, like that. So let's say you enter some data to it, like we had already entered 1, then we had entered 2 to like 4 runs and in 6 balls, or we wanted to say this one. Okay, so this is some data. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, say here, say you're giving 2, 4, and 6. In that here, if you're not giving 4 and if you're just giving 2, 6, where this data will be stored in player ID run, or did you get
Okay.
my question here?
You wanted to say if I say like this?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Or will it
so this will throw an error.
Okay.
Because it doesn't match the count of the columns. Since we had 3 columns and we are giving 2 values. So if we wanted to give only values for specific columns, then we had to mention on which columns we wanted to. So here we are giving first value as a player ID and the second value, let's say, as a balls. We are skipping runs. Okay.
Okay.
So now it will enter this as a row. And now you select a star. This value is null. 2, 6.
Okay.
This query is allowed, but if you try to enter a null on player ID, it is not allowed. It will throw you this error where it will say the column player ID cannot be null because you had already enforced the constraint. Okay.
Yeah.
So now what we require is, let's say we wanted to find out how many runs in total this a particular player had made. Okay. So to do that, what we had to do, we had to count all the runs. We had to sum up all the runs which have been made by player ID 1, and we had to sum up all the runs which have been made by player ID 2, right? So to do that, we do grouping. Okay, so what you are doing is you are grouping certain things to on which you wanted to make sum. Let's say if I create a group of player ID, so this is my first group where my value is 1. So I will sum up all the values where my player ID is equals to 1. Similarly, second group is when this is player ID is 2. I will sum up all the values. So this is done using a simple group by clause. So it's again like a plain English. Like we are saying we want the player ID, and we are taking the sum of the runs from my table scores, where we are grouping by how I am creating this sum. I am grouping by on my player ID. Okay, so what it will do, it will based on this player ID, it had sum up my runs. It performed the grouping on the values of the player ID, and based on the grouping, it applied that aggregate function. Like when we say aggregate means either we are doing sum, or we are doing counting, or we are doing average or mean, wherever we had to use multiple values and come up with a single result, it is aggregation, right? So sum is an aggregation, and for this aggregation, what we are doing, we are grouping on this player ID. Okay, so like I can tell you more examples on this group by.
Actually, just a doubt. Only the first two rows have been summed up.
No, actually, see, you
It is
had
4
only
to 4 plus. Uh, okay, player ID is summed up, not runs.
right. So when you say grouping on player ID, so how many distinct player ID you have? 1 and 2. That so if you do sum on wherever it is, so it is a grouping. So one wherever it is 1, you will sum up the runs. So this statement say wherever you have the player ID, like group on player ID, and you will add up the sum, add up the runs. So you can say for 1 it is 3 plus 4, 7. For
But
2 it
we
is,
didn't specify it like for one, no?
we can specify it from,
So no, we didn't specify it for one, right? The player ID who is having one as the ID will be summed up, right?
yeah, we can specify like what
Okay,
we will
got it.
do, we can just
Yeah,
add the
got it.
filter.
Okay.
So this is how the group by work. So grouping is clear to everyone. Like if it is, if someone have some doubts, like how grouping is being done, what exactly is grouping, like it's better to open up the mic and clear it right here. Okay, all right. So this is how we perform the grouping. Okay, now we could have another thing that we might wanted to do is, let's say uh, let's say we wanted to find out um, how many how many runs are given on a certain ball. Okay, then where I have to do the grouping, like if Can anyone tell me, like, if I group on balls, then what will be the rows look like? Or if I wanted to count instead of doing the sum. So when you say that, so balls, so you have one ball for 5 and 6 balls for 3 balls for 6, right? So it will return you that. Like basically, we are counting on the runs. We should count on something distinct. When we say count, okay, so this will count the number of values. Like if you see, this is null, okay, and we counted one value for 5. There are two values for 6. This will not be counted because it's null. Okay, that's why we got this answer. But let's say we change this to player ID. What will we get? Now it is 1 and 3, because now we are not counting a null value. We are counting, so this is 1, 2, 3 for 6, and one time counting for 5. And we are grouping on balls. Okay. So one important thing to remember in this grouping is, like, if you try to add some another values which you are not aggregating. Let's say you try to add player ID and the same query. Like if I take the same query and add player ID in it, so will it work? It will throw me an error. Why? Because when you are trying to grouping on the balls with a, and you are counting the player ID. Now if you simply try to add the player ID, the grouping cannot work. You only had to add those columns. You can only add those columns on which it is grouped, and you can add aggregations. Okay, like this particular command will work if my aggregation is also on the player ID. I hope you got the point, like why it is throwing the error, and why it only works for when we say group by on that particular column. All right, I will take this silence as okay. Um, like so far we had generated some player ID, and we had the number of balls, we had the runs associated with that particular player. Let's say in this particular query where I figured out how many runs a player had made. But when I am displaying the when I want to see the result, this player ID means nothing to me. I know this player ID is one is associated with player name Sachin. So is there any way I can replace all the player IDs with the player name? I can fetch the player name related to the player ID. So there comes the joins. So the joins will help us to join two tables on certain keys based on the conditions we apply, and then after joining those two tables we can fetch the columns from both of the table according to our requirement. So let's say the task is here to get the player name. So this should be Sachin and whatever we have mentioned in the database right now. Okay. So what I will do is, let's say this query is returning some result to me. Okay. Uh, or let's just go with a simple query, then I will talk about the subquery as well. So in the score table, if we see right now, we had this table. So so at the place of player ID, we wanted to append the player name, and this is our players table. It is players. It is players. Select star from players. Like you wanted to see what all tables are there in the database. You can use show tables. It will show you all the tables. You wanted to see all what all databases are available. You can say show databases. It will show you the databases. Okay. So I forgot the name, like whether it is player or players. So I just do the show tables. Now we can see this is something we had in the player IDs and the player names, and this is what we have the player IDs. What I wanted to do, I wanted to add the player names. So to join these two tables, uh, we had this way, like we can say select a star from, we wanted this scores table, and we wanted to join like this. I'm using inner join here. I will talk about what are the different type of join, and we will perform it to see what action it will come up with. So let's say we do the inner join, and then on which table, on players table. So and then what we wanted to say, where um, on which condition we wanted to do the join. We wanted to do the join on where my players dot player id, like this player id is from players, is equal to the player id of my scores table. Right. So I selected everything. So it selected player id, runs balls from this scores table, and it selected the player id and player name from the player table. We can again instead of using star, we can use specific column names, like we want to fetch player id or run or balls, like this. Now since I have to write this player, since it's a players table, I have to write like players. I can give some alias as well. Like instead of writing the full name, it might be like very. Let's say the table names are very big, so I can give some alias. Let's say I call this players table as P. I call this scores table as S, and then instead of so it, now if I have to define the column names, I can simply say this player ID is from P, because I have already mentioned. So this is how we give aliases. It will still result in the same thing, right? So here you might be confused, like what this inner mean. So I will tell you, basically, if we have this one table and this is another table, okay? So let's say this one is the player ID. This one is players table, and this one is scores table. So when we are doing the inner join, so inner join represents the values which are present both in players as well as scores. So if you see the output, though my players table have 4 records. It have player ID of 1, 2, 3, and 4. And my scores table only have player ID 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So only available player IDs are 1 and 2. So if I take the intersection, like what all player IDs are available in my players table. So when we do inner join, it will only join on those player IDs which are available in both table. Like 1 and 2 are available in both table, 3 and 4 are not. So these rows are discarded. So it will give the intersection thing. Now let's say since it is discarding these two rows, and I don't want it to be discarded. Let's say I wanted to see these 2 rows. Okay, so what I can do, instead of the inner join, I can do right join. The join is still working as it is, but as we see, the for the row number for player ID 3 and player ID 4, it is now populating the result for player ID 3 and player ID 4. Since it doesn't got any match in the left table in the scores, it populated as null. So what it do, like if I do a left join, or if I so here I did a right join, and my right table is players. So it will fetch all the values which are there in this players table. Okay, it is more like bring to front. So it is more like it will fetch all the values that is inside the player, and the matching values which are inside the scores as well. So it will only fetch this circle, like whatever values lie in the players as well as scores. And if I have, let's say, some player ID, and the similar happens if I say the left join. So in the left join, it will only fetch records, all it will fetch all the records from the left table, and also which are the matching records with the player. If I have some extra records in player which are not matching with the score, it will not show it. This concept of join might be overwhelming to you. Uh, you can ask questions like to clarify it. Like this is I made the right join. Let's try the left join. What will be my output? Since we are making a left join, it will show me all the records that exist in scores table, and like the intersection values which can join with the players. Since all the records we had in scores table are the joining one, so it will result me the same output. But let's say if I insert some rows in this, insert into scores, values, the value is player ID run and balls. let's say I had some player ID 10. So the 10th player ID doesn't exist in player table. That's why I'm taking this. Let's say some ball. Now if I made the same thing, now you can see 10 player ID 10 do exist in the left table scores, but it doesn't exist in the players table. So it did populated it, but if you do the inner join, it will not populate because it will only show us the intersection. Like up until is there any doubts related to join, like what the inner join, left join, and right join are? There is one more like full join where it will show all the records from the scores and all the records from the players as well as the intersection records. So if we can even try that and see what is the result. Basically uh, it will it will show you all the results, like for it will have these rows as well, because these are the rows which exist in the players table but doesn't exist in the scores table, and this one is the row which exists in the scores and this doesn't in the player. When you say full, so it will show you all. Like basically full join is more like a cross join. You are fetching all the records. It is basically if you say, like in the even in the where clause, let's say you wanted to join at both of these table, you say this particular scores table, this is the players table, and you wanted to fetch all the records where this is something, so like that. Okay, we will see about the full outer join. So now there might comes the relationship, like since we are storing the player IDs and the player names. So up until here, anyone have the problems with any sort of questions related to joins? Okay.
Hi, actually. Can you go back to the commands?
Yep.
Just general. So if say here, if there is a extra space between these commands or something, is that a problem or?
No, it's not a problem.
Not a problem.
It's totally okay.
Okay.
Like spaces as well as, let's say we are saying this as a player ID. It is case insensitive. Like even if we say player capital I capital D, this will work.
Okay.
The only thing we had to care about is right spelling. Anyone else? Like we can or we are good to move. Okay. So now since we are making a relationship on these two tables, like this one is the player ID and player name, and we are trying to capture the player name here. So there could be conditions where we had some player IDs which doesn't have the IDs here. But let's say we don't want such kind of inconsistency in our data. What we want is, if there exists some player ID here, it should already exist in this particular table. Okay, so when we say this particular, so there comes the concept of primary key and foreign key. Okay, so I will tell you what exactly primary key and foreign key is. Basically, when we have a when we say a primary key of a table could be a table using which you can identify any record of a table. Like basically, this 2 is to then Dravid. 3 we have, let's say, Ganguly. So now you can define you can you can easily speak of any row by saying a player ID, right? So this means it could be a primary key. But let's say we had certain entry like this as well, A, B, C. Okay. Now, does it is the player ID a primary key? No, because primary key is a key using which we can identify a particular row. But if we say primary key, like if we go for a 2 where player ID equals 2, it will return me two rows, which is not right. Like I'm not able to identify a single row using the primary key. So that means primary key does not allow any duplicates. So when you say it's a player ID is a primary key, it will not have any duplicates, and it will be, that means it will be unique. So once we have a unique key, so this will have benefits. Like now if you try to let's say if because let's say you wanted to have some player name here, okay, and you had this player ID 1, you had multiple entries for this player ID. It is, if it is player ID is not a primary key for this table, you might end up having different player names, and like you cannot uniquely identify that particular thing. So this is how, so these are the properties for a primary key. Primary key will have unique rows. Okay, it cannot be null, because you cannot have nulls in the primary key. So these are the base conditions.
So if there is a primary in players table, if there is a primary key 4 and the value, say player name is null, that still is a primary key, is it?
Pardon, I didn't get it. Get your question.
Yeah. Can you go back to the players table? So there is this players table. So you are entering. No. In this Excel itself.
Okay.
Yeah. So you are entering 4 in players ID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in the player's name, there is null value.
Yeah, that is fine. Like
That is fine, right? Okay.
basically the key, a particular column which we are calling as a primary key should not be null.
Okay. Yeah, say I was just asking, maybe if player name is null, then it won't affect the primary keys,
Yeah, it won't affect.
Yeah.
Like basically, if we had explicitly specified that, like while creating the table, if we had specified like this player name should not be null, then it will cause you the issue. Like it will throw the error that player name could not be null. Otherwise, like the base condition is the primary key should not be null.
Okay.
Now we will see how to make a primary key. Okay. Like while we can make a key a primary key by at the time of creating the table. Like if I create a new table, let's say create table players duplicate, or just to keep the name short, player 2. Okay, and we had the same player ID, which is an integer, and we can simply define primary key here, and this is player name, which is a varchar which is like basically a text column, and this query will work. Okay, if I create it, and now this particular player ID is a primary key. Other way, what I can do is, if I wanted, if I have not specified it like this, I can specify like this as well, like my primary key is player ID. Like we had to specify the constraint the this is my okay, the syntax error is I didn't close the bracket. Like somewhere I'm making some spelling mistake. Basically the syntax is like this only. So this is how you can create primary keys, like either by adding the constraint here or by simply mentioning the primary key in front of the key. Okay, so now we had created this particular player 2 with the with primary key. Okay, so let's say if I try to insert some value, insert into this my new table players 2, and the values are something like 1 and Sachin. This will work, but let's say I try to enter some duplicate value, like this is another value. It will say like this is a duplicate entry for this key, since this particular key, the first key is a primary key. Okay, so the advantage of making this primary key constraint is now I can make a foreign key relationship over my scores table with this players table. Like like what is the benefit of it? Like when I say it is a foreign key, so that means it it will always check for the consistency in this players table, whether it is like if I try to add this 10 something something. Okay, so 10 doesn't exist in this table because it is a foreign key referring to this players, so it will throw me an error that you cannot add. Like let's see it in action, like how it is. Let's say if I create another table, and it's the player ID as so this is player ID, which is integer, run, which is integer, balls, which is again integer, and we had a FORIE foreign key, which is player ID, which references, like whenever we are mentioning a foreign key, we had to mention the reference, which references this players table. In our case, it is players 2. REFERC. So let's see what it is saying. Incorrect foreign key definition for foreign key without name.
मैं सोच रहा हूँ कुछ तुमने बोला लिखा कुछ और मेरे दिमाग में नहीं है
Like I will just check the syntax. So this is how we give, yeah, like inside the table name, we had to give the table name as well. Like Google is really handy. Like whenever you make some mistake, you can just Google it, and now see, the query is okay, right? So we had now we created a foreign key references, which this particular player ID of this scores to table references to the player ID of my players table. So let's see what happens. So right now, if I check the data available in my players 2, this players 2. So this is this one, and if I try to add some data in my new created table, insert into my scores table, the values are, which is 1, and could be runs and balls, could be anything. So this square is fine because 1 exists in my players table. But let's say I tried to add this something where my player ID is 2. It will tell me that cannot add or update a child row because you had a reference from this parent table, which is players. So when you create a primary key reference, it is something like you had created reference like this. So this is your parent table, and you created a reference to this player ID. So you cannot add a new item without adding that in here. So this ensures the consistency. Like you always wanted a player name for the particular player ID, and this is how you enforce the constraint. Okay. Apart from it, like we can also see. Let's say we wanted to update something. We wanted to update some values. So to update some values in a table, it would be simple. Like let's here, if I see the player table, this is my players table. But let's say the player ID 2 had changed their name. Instead of Sachin, what they now want is Tendulkar. Okay, the player ID 2 want to be called from their last name. So we can update a row by saying update the player tables, like the update this players, the value where the player name to be, we are saying Tendulkar, where my player ID is 2. Like why I'm using where? If I don't use where, it will update all the rows because it doesn't know like on which column on which particular row you wanted to do. So according to him, according to the SQL, you wanted to apply this on all the rows. Why it is always a syntax error?
Set.
Yeah, set. We were missing set. So now it it made the changes. So now if we query this particular table, we can see this row number 2, which we said update it to Tendulkar. It updated it to Tendulkar. What happens if I don't use this where clause, or I use some, let's say, ABC? Now see, there are 4 rows in this, and it changed all the 4 rows. So this is how you can we can update the values. We can do comma separated. Um, we can add comma separated, like if we wanted to change the player ID as well, we can change that. Like if we only have 2 columns here, so right now I am only changing the second value. So apart from it, let's say at the later point of time, you thought that you wanted to add some another column, like altering the table. That is also possible in a SQL. Like right now your table schema is, you had 2 columns, like one is player ID, one is player name. So to add a new column, it would be alter table, your table name, which is the players table. What you wanted to do, you wanted to add column, and what should be the column name? Let's say player, let's say age of the player, which is again an integer. Okay, now I added that. So if I query it, since the data is not there, it is set it to null. So this is how we can add new columns in the table. We can also delete columns from the table just by replacing the add to delete, and we can also like we can do all sort of operation, like we wanted to do, like we wanted to change the data type, or we wanted to drop the table itself. We can do that. Let's say we wanted to drop some records, we wanted to delete few records. So it would be plain straight command, like um, delete table, and the table name is from players, or the syntax was something like delete from player, where, because you don't want to delete all the rows, or if you wanted to delete all the rows, you can simply skip the where clause. Let's say I only wanted to delete the player where it is player id 2. So I guess it is delete from player, or yeah. So here if you query it again, now your row 2 is deleted. You can change the where clause condition to apply it on whichever row you want, like that. Like, so far, any questions or any confusions? Like, this might be overwhelming in the start, like it's separate query language after all.
Excuse me, Ashrit, if we are not giving the where condition, the whole tables, every data will be deleted. The
Yep.
table will
Like,
not exist.
let's say if we forgottenly we skip the where condition. So we had the 3 rows, and the 3 rows are affected. That means I don't have any data right now.
But the table will be existing, the data will not be there.
Yeah, table is there. Like if you wanted to drop the table itself, like it's
Yeah.
simple as that. The drop table, and you will say the table name. So drop this table. That means now if you say the show tables, your players table is not there now. Similarly,
Okay.
when you say show databases, you can even drop the database. Like if I wanted to drop a database, like drop database, and I will name the database, let's say the test one. I will execute it and it will delete the database. It's more of like the query, the query structure is more of like a plain English, but it do require some practice to get a hang of it. And like right after class, in half an hour or in an hour, we will share some of the assignments that this you had to create some tables, and you had to like do certain tasks so that you will get a hang of it, and then you will be able to, then you might feel comfortable like working around SQL basically. So if you guys have any questions, you can ask now. Then we can close.
Hi, Akshit. Can you go back to the console?
Yep.
Yeah. So when we are creating a database and say creating a table, whether it is like say physically we are creating, or it's only for the console we are just creating.
Like basically when we create a table, there are internal things that is only related to the database. Like database is a tool basically. It is exposing this language to you. Like in a Excel, you when you say you wanted to filter a certain things, it do filter it for you. And like underlying Excel is some code that is it might be operating on some algorithms, right? So it's just provide exposing you some interface. It will create the table within, and it shows it to you that this is the table, and you can interact with the table using the SQL, uh, like that.
Okay, so it is not like say stored in this bin bash. No.
No, it do create some files on the disk to store the data.
Okay, but just for while we are running only. Once we
Yeah,
are
like
closing, once we are closing this console, it's all gone.
no, it's not like that. Since say we use databases for persistence.
Okay.
Like by persistence, I mean where we can save the data on disk. So once something is saved on disk, it is going to be forever until or unless we throw away the disk or we delete the data. So it's truly persistent. Even if I close the console and again relog in, it will be there.
Okay. That's okay. Okay.
Like this is a development environment. We are just running the SQL on our machine, but in the production environment where we are working in a company, they had a dedicated machines as well, which just run this SQL server only. They do nothing on it, just running the SQL.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks.
Like going forward, like SQL is a standard language for all the databases you interact with. Even we talk about this Hadoop platform. So the Spark have their SQL APIs. You can write SQL queries to do the transformations of the data, and you can run SQL queries on Hive to fetch the data from the data warehouse. Like we will come to that in the coming class, but like this is the base and foundation. So like if you practice this, it will be very helpful. Like it's this is something that is like heavily asked in interviews. You will be given some table, and they will ask you, like let's say this is the table. How will you get all the how will you get the total score per player? Let's say you wanted to fetch the runs scored by a certain player within 10 balls. So it you had to they will ask you to write the query, and the simple query for this will be, since they are asking you for to fetch the total runs, that means the aggregated runs they wanted to ask. So you wanted the aggregated runs. What you had to do? You had to do the group by, right? And you had to find the sum of runs from your scores table, where you are doing the group by on the player ID. Then they had also given a condition like within 10 balls. Within 10 balls means my there is a where clause, like where my balls are less than 10. So this is within 10 balls. So this query will answer this question on this particular table. So this way you had to like you had to do little practice, and it's easy. It's easily learnable. Any other question? Like if there are no other questions, then we can close the call. And we will send out the assignments.
Okay, thank you.
Soumya, you are saying something? I didn't get it. All right. Okay, then thank you everyone for your time.
Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
We will send out the assignment shortly on the group itself.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thanks.